I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who's been paying attention that gaming has gotten far too big for its own good. The industry is no longer run by people who are passionate about making a good product. All those people got replaced by greedy suits who only see dollar signs and progressive ideologues who won't stop until everything you once loved has become gay and lame.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
But before greed and DEI had spread across the gaming sphere more than ducks have spread throughout the the Jeep community, there were games like this. Batman Arkham Asylum is what happens when a team of genuinely passionate developers are allowed to make the product that they want to make, and it's almost a masterpiece. And I say almost despite the fact that it's easily a 10 out of 10 when compared to anything made in the past 5 years or so, but if you want to know why I don't think it quite deserves that label, you're gonna have to stick around until the end. Get blue-balled, idiot. The game opens with a cutscene showing Batman driving every 12-year-old boy's wet dream of a car into Arkham Asylum with the Joker held prisoner. Once inside the asylum, he insists on escorting Joker into the intensive treatment center because he suspects the Joker is planning something due to how quickly he surrendered. And spoiler alert, he was. Joker almost immediately escapes and kicks off the game's plot, but not before showing way too much enthusiasm for getting his temperature taken rectally.
The patient seems to be in satisfactory condition. Looks like he suffered minor lacerations, probably in the last 2 hours. There seems to be...
Need to take my temperature? I'd be happy to drop my pants.
This guy definitely drives a Jeep. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have the Arkhamverse Batman, who is overflowing with testosterone in a way we never see in modern gaming. He is the living embodiment of masculinity with his strong moral code and undying will to succeed.
Batman, what's happening?
Joker's escaped. He sealed himself off. He's got your father.
Dad.
Don't worry, I'm getting him back.
Okay, I know, but...
Oracle, I'm getting him back. Joker will not win. I won't let him.
This is the kind of character I want to play as, not some gay little twink or whatever the fuck this is supposed to be.
Look how they massacred my boy.
And that brings me to the most important part of any game. The gameplay in Arkham Asylum can be broken down into 3 parts. First and foremost is the combat. Basically, you press X a bunch to punch people in the face while occasionally pressing Y to counter. Doing all this without getting hit builds up a combo meter that allows you to use a couple of different special moves. But the most useful one by far is the instant takedown that technically doesn't kill anyone. But a lot of these bad guys will definitely never walk the same. And others will never be able to look at the Christmas time Nutcracker without having a panic attack.
Say adios to your huevos.
The combat is pretty simple, but it feels fantastic. Batman's fists are practically magnetically attracted to the enemies, and once you figure out the right rhythm, it flows beautifully. The second part of the gameplay is stealth. This is where the gadgets you acquire throughout the game tend to be the most useful outside of traversal purposes. Of course, it wouldn't be a Batman game without gadgets, and this game is full of them, most of which are very fun and useful. Then there's this fucking thing. In theory, it's used to lure enemies to a specific location, but it's almost never actually worth using since these goons literally always split up in a way that makes it easy to pick them off one at a time by simply choking them out. Sometimes one of them will walk under a gargoyle, and this sets them up perfectly for a funny little prank.
What are you doing? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something.
And by that, of course, I mean you can drop them from a height that would be a death sentence if they actually hit the ground. But this is a Batman game, so of course they don't. The final part of the gameplay involves scanning something that gives you a trail to follow to your next objective. I'm sure these are supposed to show off Batman's detective skills, but he ends up looking more like the world's greatest bloodhound because it's pretty much always a trail that a dog could have sniffed out. These sections are a bit on the mediocre side, and yet they're still better than 80% of the gameplay in other so-called masterpieces because they still require the player to actively engage with the game rather than just holding the forward button. Developers used to understand that video games are first and foremost an interactive experience, and thus the story and graphics should never take priority over the gameplay. Then this piece of trash came out and the floodgates were opened. You can draw a crystal clear line from the success of The Last of Us to one of the most influential companies on the planet that still has a reputation for setting the gold standard to this day, putting an entire mission dedicated to following an old guy around while he picks fucking flowers in a game that is supposedly about a group of scrappy outlaws in the last days of the Old West. I've criticized Red Dead 2's horrible mission design in the past, and the response is always, not every game needs to have non-stop action, and I actually agree with that statement. Giving the player time to breathe and reflect is often healthy for the pacing of a game. However, this type of game design requires zero brain activity. Helen fucking Keller could get through any one of these modern cinematic games like this and never even break a sweat. Those tailing missions in Assassin's Creed everybody always rightfully complains about are unironically better than half the missions in Red Dead 2 because they actually require you to pay attention to the gameplay. Player engagement is the key to a fun game, not graphics, not the story, player engagement. This is something that the developers of Arkham Asylum understood. Just like how they understood that graphics should be something that complements the rest of the game rather than just focusing on photorealism. I've never been the type to care about graphics because, contrary to popular belief, having super accurate lighting and 4K textures doesn't actually make a game more fun. However, replaying this game has made me seriously question my original way of thinking. Arkham Asylum and all the other games in this franchise for that matter have a very deliberate art style that literally changes how they feel when you are playing them. And I know this for a fact because this piece of shit exists. The art style in this game perfectly complements both the tone of the story and the feeling you get while actually playing the game. I wish I knew the words to delve deeper into this, but I don't, so instead, let me show you. This opening scene perfectly sets the tone and atmosphere that the rest of the game will have. This is what happens when the game developers actually give a shit about the final product instead of simply showing up for a paycheck. This is how graphics should be used. Not as just eye candy to trick normies into thinking a game is better than it is, but as an extension of the rest of the game. For lack of a better explanation, games shouldn't have photorealistic graphics just because it looks pretty. They should have a deliberate art style that complements the rest of the game. Even the sound effects in Arkham Asylum were made with this philosophy. Anyone who's played this game before would instantly know where that sound is from if you played it randomly, and most of them are like that. The frustrating part of all of this is that games of this quality were the standard back then. Arkham Asylum, as good as it is, isn't even the best game from that time period. In fact, it's not even the best game in this franchise. And that leads me to the title of this video. The reason I believe this game doesn't quite deserve the title of masterpiece. Arkham City, the sequel to this game, is so damn good that it actually makes Asylum less fun by simply existing. That might sound absurd, but hear me out. If you've ever tried to play Asylum after playing City, there's a 100% chance that you tried to do something that wasn't possible in Asylum but was a feature in City. For example, when I play Arkham City, I'll sometimes slide under an enemy and do a ground takedown to quickly incapacitate them. When I picked up Asylum for this video, that was one of the first things I tried to do, only it didn't work because sliding is not a feature in this game. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you look at this game in a vacuum, it's definitely a 10 out of 10, but that's not how the real world works. Take the Model T, for example. What was once the pinnacle of automotive engineering has turned into an old clunky relic of the past. A very historically important relic, but a relic nonetheless. Modern cars are way faster, way safer, and have creature comforts like heated seats that weren't even a thought in anyone's mind back then. There wasn't even a radio in the Model T. How am I supposed to drive a car if I can't blast Rollin' by Limp Bizkit at max volume while I'm cutting everyone off? What I'm trying to say is that Arkham City raised the bar so high that I don't think Asylum clears it anymore. It's still a great game and it was a necessary stepping stone, but just like the Model T, it became outdated after something better came along. If you made it this far, first of all, thanks for watching, but also if you're one of the 8 people who watches these videos regularly, let me know what you thought about this one. It's a little bit longer and a little less shitposty than what I usually make. I've been uploading for about a year and haven't had a lot of success, so any feedback would be appreciated. Alright, I'm gonna wrap it up. which is exactly what I won't be doing when I hang out with your mother tonight. Oh, did you really think you were getting an entire Savetica video without one single your mom joke? Guess again, motherfucker.
I whoop